Hello, everybody. I'm Wild Chevy. You guys are watching the Atomic Salt Live Show. And of course, I'm joined by Rocket Yeti. Rocket Yeti, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. A little bit better than you. I think you could barely remember who you were there for a few minutes.
No, it's been a nice recovery week.
I get it. Sunday is hangover day.
Yeah. I mean, you take a whole week to recover from Gen Con.
You know, that's actually the truth. That shows you how intense Gen Con is when news is still trickling out of Gen Con a week later as people are sorting back through their notes and remembering things or looking at pictures that they've forgotten they've taken. Just a testament to how big and how much is going on there.
Yeah, it's very true. I feel like I didn't do anything at all there. I went through to look through my pictures. I only took 74 pictures, so I took a lot more. There's just so much to do there that you can't see everything.
So, other than sleep in, drink, and chase the ladies, what have you done this week?
This week has just been not much hobby-wise. Uh, been sorting out all the stuff, all the booty and loot that I got. Uh,
You said
hey, that's a testament to Adam Smasher. He loves the Gen Con booty. I did get some play for Warmachine, and that's about it for hobby-wise. I need to get back into painting. How about yourself?
this week was all hobby work for me. There wasn't any playing happening. I have been smashing through the Grey Knight, or not the Grey Knights, the Space Wolves. I said gray because I just got them all primed gray yesterday. So all my Terminator arms are now magnetized. All of my Grey Hunters are all built. I've kit bashed out my Wolf Lord. I've kit bashed and converted a Rune Priest because GW still doesn't want to sell any to me. And they're all primed and ready to start base code. So I'm on track. I'm where I expected to be, and my wife hasn't kicked me out of the house for ignoring it. So things are going well.
When are we going to see some progress shots on these? You've been teasing us for a while.
Yeah, we'll throw some up here on the blog after this, just to kind of show where it's at. Otherwise, you guys can check my Google Plus account. I've been showing little snapshots here and there. But I haven't done a whole lot because I don't know. I think that cleaning up models and cutting them off sprues are not that interesting. So, but I'll show what I've got. You just might not like it.
Hey, you know what? Progress is progress.
Yeah, and you know it's kind of hard to see, especially when you're finding something gray. But once we start base coating and getting some washes on, and a couple of highlights here and there, then it'll get a lot more visually interesting to take a look at. So. All right, but so speaking of gray things, let's talk about Grey Knights.
Yes, that's true. Grey Knights came out this week. I did happen to pick up the Codex. It's very nice and shiny. And that's all I picked up was the Codex. Flipping through here, I didn't need the Psychic deck.
Now, hold on. Let's talk. Why did you not pick up anything else?
Because there was nothing new. Nothing new that I saw. They have a Grey Knight Venerable Dreadnought kit, Grey Knight Land Raider kit, and pretty much those are just a repackaging of the kits they have already. And strike squads. I put the 5-man pack as a Purifier squad, and then doubled it up and called it a strike squad. So there really wasn't anything new for me to buy.
their their opportunity lost. Because I'm sure you would have forked over a few more bucks for maybe something, right?
Yeah, I mean, Shiny Syndrome. I want something new. Like I said, I didn't even buy the Psychic deck because I already got one that has all the powers in it.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, when was the last time you actually purchased a Grey Knight model?
Last time they released them.
Which was
Let's see. According to the older Codex, let's see where the. Oh yeah, the old Codex by Matt Ward.
rest in peace, man.
He will be missed. This is copyright 2010. So, yeah, 4 years.
All right, so I'm kicking back. I'm gonna let you talk about it. Let's go through the codex. What first? Anything major change?
Yes, this is Grey Knights, and it is only Grey Knights. There's no Inquisition in here. There's no Assassins. Assassins got a data slate this week, and it's all it is just pure shiny Grey Knights.
Okay, and for those of you who don't know, what are Grey Knights and why should you know?
Uh, as Casey likes to call them, Grey Knights are the pretty boys of the Emperor. They are the demon hunters. They go out and kill what bumps in the night, and they do a good job at it.
Best of the best of the best of the best with honors, sir.
Yep, they're Space Marines, but they're not. They're not a chapter as all the other ones are built around. They've got the best technology, the best cause, and they'll burn whatever they want to burn.
Including Sisters of Battle, if you like. Is that still in there?
Uh, I know it's in the book.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, and this is one of the reasons why I love the Grey Knights, is the Grey Knights and the Sisters are both, let's say, fanaticals about getting the job done. So when a bunch of sisters actually encounter a chaos demon of some sort or another, because they're really all the same, it's just if they have tentacles or spikes or skulls or pus. The sisters encounter it. Grey Knights show up, and the sisters say, "Yay! Backup is here!" And the Grey Knights say, "Yay! You guys have been tainted by chaos. And by the way, if we kill you and wear your blood, we think it may or may not actually help us in the upcoming battle." And so, like every good Imperial citizen, they just go and slaughter the sisters and paint their blood with their own. Yeah, boys.
I don't
Put that
recall
girl on
reading
the
that
plate.
in the fluff. The fluff I have not broken through yet because I've only had this in my hands for a few days. I have looked at all the unit entries. A lot of point. Some stuff is cheaper, some stuff more expensive. They have tweaked it here and there.
Okay, so let's get into the rules then. Where do you want to start? Troops, HQs. We can just go sequentially through the book.
First thing is like the word gear. It's all one price now. Before different units, strike squads, purgation squads, purifiers, they all had a different price on equipment. Like the big change is the halberd, the force halberd for regular guys. It's only 2 points across the board for regular Space Marines.
Okay, and now has the halberd, how it functions, has that changed as well?
Yes, before it gave you +2 initiative, now it's only +1 strength.
So you're going to be hitting at the same time as every other Marine.
Yep, but you can kill a Marine dead because it's It's a ep3 in close
and,
combat.
and it is still a force weapon.
Correct. Which changes up how you do force weapons now, because with the change to the psychic phase, you have to activate it before you use it. Before it was, you go into combat and then you activate your force weapons. Now you have to think ahead. Yeah, you actually have to say, okay, do I want to do hammer hand after movement, or do I want to do force weapons? It does change up how you think about it.
So, speaking of Hammerhand, now we know Hammerhand is +2 strength, and plus the halberd is +1 strength. So now you're looking at a strength 7 Marine with an AP3 weapon, AP3 force weapon.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
is there anything that would ever want to mess with this unit?
Uh, they, they're pretty buff and tough, but they're still a standard Space Marine. A regular Grey Knight still has same weapon skill and ballistic skill as every other Space Marine out there. So, they'll get into combat, but there won't be many people standing at the end.
Okay, so you have your regular, we'll call them tacticals. Do we still have Terminators as troops?
Yes. Well, and also, Terminators are troops still, but being with Battleforged, everything is, if you do a Battleforged army, everything's scoring, so it opens up your fast attack, the interceptors. Now you can actually use them and capture now.
And interceptors are?
They are the jump pack troop of the Grey Knights. They have this warp backpack. Once per game, they can shunt 30 inches and just puts them anywhere on the board. They can't assault afterwards, but it's pretty tactical.
I'm not complaining.
So, Grey Knights are your close combat guys. They want to be in the thick of it. And there's a lot of options to get them across the table. And but we're jumping ahead there. Pretty much everything else is kind of the same here in the war gear list. Nothing special. All right, so we go. Brother Captains, Brother Captain Grandmasters, same as before. Did get a little bit of a point increase for the Grandmaster. He's a little bit more expensive, but he's a level 2 psyker now.
Okay. And you can actually... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Can you take him up to Mastery Level 3?
No, he is locked at 2.
Okay. But he comes with 2 as default?
Yes.
Nice. So he's kind of like a chapter master plus a buffed out librarian rolled into one.
Pretty much. These guys are the one. Most Grey Knights only have access to certain powers. As their HQ, these do have access to divination, pyromancy, telekinesis, and telepathy. So they can more roundabout on your powers.
So no divination or no biomancy then?
For regular Grey Knights, no.
Okay. Alright, whatever. Pyromancy is nice.
We got good old brother Captain Stern. He hasn't changed much. Castellan Crow. Oh, big change on this guy here.
Yeah, let's take some time to talk about him.
Yes, before I called him Suicide Crow because Crow had special rule that if he got charged, the enemy got better. And he was a unique, and he was not an IC, so he pretty much was all by his lonesome. But that has changed now. Crow is an independent character.
Wow. So you can join him with any squad you please.
Yep. And his sword, the Blade of Antois, doesn't have any special rules anymore. He no longer gets hurt by carrying the sword around.
Okay. And so this sword, is it like just a power sword, force sword?
It's a demon sword, but he just uses that as a regular sword. It's just a strength user type melee.
Wow.
He doesn't draw from it like as somebody else would, because he's purifier.
Okay, so then what makes Crow special or different from a regular brother captain?
So brother captains have this thing called Perfect Warrior. They get to choose a stance in battle. One is Short Strike, which is they get smash special rule. The other one is Blade Shield, allows them to re-roll failed saves. Crow gets both of them.
Okay, so he gets to use both of them simultaneously then?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Very nice.
And let's see, they changed it to...
Okay, so while we're with it, one of the reasons you would take Crow in the old Codex is to turn purifiers into troops, correct?
Correct.
Do you now have the option to change or shuffle your slots around, turn anything into troops?
Nope. Purifiers are an elite slot now, and there's nothing really to change anything. But that's 7th edition. 7th ed, everything can score.
Yep. All right,
moving on. Librarians, pretty much the same. Psyker level 2, they can bump up to 3.
Okay, that's maybe not unusual for Grey Knights, but for everybody else, usually 3 is about the best you can get. So that's pretty cool.
Tech Marine, they are able to take a Tech Marine, and Tech Marines have a special rule for each HQ choice in your detachment, not including the Tech Marine. You can include a Tech Marine, and it doesn't take up a Force Organization slot.
Oh, very nice.
So it does help for bolster defense and repair on vehicles. Let's see, moving on to troops. There's only 2 troops, Terminators and Strike Squads. There's a little bit of a point change here. Powers are different because of the Psychic phase. They only have Banishment and Hammer Hand. And of course they can do Force weapons. Terminators, pretty much the same as before. Just good old Terminators. Purifiers, they've changed a little bit. They're still fearless. Powers have changed. They do have a Cleansing Flame along with Banishment and Hammer Hand. A little bit of a point change here as well, but nothing too big.
Up or down?
Let's see. Looking at the old decks. They've bumped up in price. Paladins, pretty much the same as before. But before they were all, you can buy 1 Paladin only. Now it is a min squad of 3.
All right.
Dreadnoughts, pretty much the same. Big change in this codex. There's no psi ammo. So no +1 to strength on weapons like bolters and flamers.
Sorry. I won't cry.
Let's see. Rhinos got cheaper. Razorback's the same. Like I said, with the drop of the psi ammo, hard to take a Razorback down.
I think anybody with a Marine Dex feels the same.
Interceptors, pretty much the same as before. Stormraven is pretty much the same as before, just updated for the 7th edition stuff. Purgation squads, no big change here. They did lose their psychic power that allowed them to shoot without seeing, but that's because of psychic phase. And, the Dread Knight. God, I love the Dread Knight. Dread Knight is cheaper now. He can also take a teleporter for only 30 points, whereas 75 before.
Wow, that is quite a reduction.
Still has the same weapon loadout as before. I mean, they made it so that this guy can jump across the board a lot cheaper.
Yeah, he's I don't think the Dread Knight was ever. I don't know if you know this. It was a solid unit. Nobody ever complained about it. But at the same time, it was not going to be your Rambo unit. It could be taken down.
Well,
But
before it was. I mean, Grey Knights have always been a point costy army, and so you could take a Dread Knight, but the more you buffed them up, you'd have to take away from somebody else.
Right. And now you're just not taking away as much.
And Land Raiders, pretty much the same. No big change here. And then Drago is a Lord of War. So he's no longer a regular HQ, he's a Lord of War now.
Okay. And does he function mostly the same as he did before?
Pretty much. The one thing I do have to laugh at is that Drago, he's in Terminator armor, which is a 2+ armor save, 5+ invo. He's got an Iron Halo, which is a 4+ invo, and a Storm Shield, which is a 3+ invo.
Oh my gosh, GW is just like, we need to justify his price, just start throwing crap on the guy.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is if they want to take away armor or some special rule that takes away one of the saves. Well, he's got a whole handful of them.
Yes, but usually rules just say they ignore intel saves or they don't. Oh, whatever. Okay.
His Titan Sword did change up a little bit. Now it's a +3 strength. And it's AP2. Before, it was, I think, a 10 against demons. So it's a little bit different. And then lastly, we have formations. But the big thing with the formation is that you can come in first turn on reserve if you have Deep Strike on a 3+. It means Terminators, Strike Squads, Dread Knights. You can bring them in first turn through reserve and put them in the face of your enemy.
Okay, not bad at all. I mean, I guess that kind of makes up for the fact that you don't have access to drop pods.
Yeah, I wish I had drop pods.
So, as you were saying earlier, kind of the theme, at least in the previous edition of Grey Knights, was you had very elite shooting and you had also very elite close combat abilities. However, you paid for those abilities, and where the army had difficulty was trying to get into a favorable range to use those weapons and to try to get into close combat. How has that changed from the previous edition to this edition?
The units haven't changed much. Just a little bit of rules change, some points change. Like I said, halberds are different. They're just +1 strength, and they're two-handed. Demon hammers are the same. The Nemesis warding stave has changed. Before this was a 2+ invo in close combat, and the one guy could just take it all. Now it's a +2 strength. It's concussive, and it has a ward special rule, which is Adamantium Will. And that it helps you with psychic phase.
Okay, so I guess then, in your mind, how are we going to see this change?
Loadouts are going to be different. Terminators definitely going to be different. Before, the Nemesis sword gave you a +1 to your invo save in close combat. Now there's no change to that. So kitting them out is going to be a lot different.
So 2 points, guys. Sorry, and only 2 extra points. Is there really a reason? Because they're certainly cheap. Is there a reason to take a force sword instead of a halberd?
For 2 points, you get +1 strength.
So you might as well just consider you guys to cost an extra 2 points.
Yep. So I mean, just hitting harder. Let's see, Demon Bane. If you activate your force weapons, allows you to reroll failed to wound and armor penetration against demon special rules. So not much of a. It's a little bit of a rewording on how it was before. Weapons, the range weapons. Not much of a change. Side cannons did get different. They are salvo weapons now. They still keep the rending, so it does change how you play your shooting lines.
Okay.
And then the weapon that we don't. This is the one weapon we didn't see many people using before. The silencer weapons. They're 24-inch range, strength 4, AP dash. It's a heavy 6 for trooper, heavy 12 on a dread knight. But now it's force.
The gun is force?
The gun ammo is force.
Whoa. Okay then. Does it have rending on it?
Nope.
Okay. That's good. So it's not going to make a big difference when you're shooting a whole squad of guys, because if they feel an adversary, they're already dead. But if you're a monstrous creature or something like a demon prince, well, you can just bend over.
Something without Eternal Warrior gets killed quickly.
Wow, that's not, have we ever seen a gun that was a force gun?
Not yet. This is the first time.
Okay, that's all right. Just another reason to hate the United States.
Let's see, incinerators. Those are always the fun weapons to take because they're strength 4 AP4 or strength 6 AP4. A lot of burninating for Tau. They have Soul Blaze now, which is interesting.
Yeah, okay. Soul Blaze, it's not amazing, but at the same time, you're never going to turn it down.
And yeah, I'm not seeing much else. Just a little bit of rule changes. Relics, relics are hit and miss. I haven't gone and read through them all.
Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about what we're missing out of this codex. There's a few faces that are gone, a few units that are gone.
Yep, we lost Mordrak and Thon. Mordrak he's still here in the fluff. He got promoted to commander of the battleships. And other than that, any model that they didn't have a kit for is pretty much gone. So Mordrak and his Ghost Knights are gone, and Thon the Undying.
Okay. And then, as we all know, Inquisitors aren't there, and Assassins aren't there either.
But Inquisitor has their own codex now, or digital codex, and Assassins are data slates.
So, okay. So, I guess the big question. So, well, before I get to that, do you like it? Are you happy with it?
I'm gonna have to play a game. I'm gonna build up a 1,500 point list to practice Feast of Blades qualifiers with, and we'll see after I cut my teeth.
Okay. But initial impressions, are you excited by it? Did it do right by you?
I wish there was something new. I wish there was. I mean, yeah, the new kits. I mean, it just use what you got, basically.
Okay. So, but speaking of the things that we don't have, so between the previous edition and this edition, like you mentioned, we've had Inquisitors have their own codex now, and Assassins have their own data set. So you lost access to quite a number of things. Now, granted, you can always ally and back it. But your codex is smaller. Here's my question. Is it better to play with a smaller codex that has all great units, or would you have rather seen a larger codex which had like more fluffy units or units that weren't very good, but just there to give it free?
I think it depends on the type of player you are. If you're a new player, Grey Knights is great. You can only there are very few limited kits. You can pick up whatever you want, slap it together, and you're good to go. If you're more of a rounded player, you want a bigger codex, because then it lets you make two options. I mean, if you wanted to do a whole devilfish spam, you could probably do it. I mean, it could be effective. It couldn't, but you got the option.
Yeah, yeah I guess the reason why I come with this is I'm primarily a Tau player. And if you go back to the 4th edition Codex, which is what they had before the update, their Codex was a limited one, like very limited. And what there was there, a lot of it wasn't very good. Nobody ran stealth suits, nobody used ethereals, nobody used vespids. Sky rays never saw much use. You really were just relying on 2 or 3 key units to get the job done. And it was effective, don't get me wrong. I mean, the crisis suits and the old school broadsides, backed up by a few squads of fire warriors, could carry the day if you had good tactics. But it got really, really, in my opinion, it got really boring to play. Like I had no trouble winning in circumstances, but I wanted more, and I wanted to be able to do more. So
Yeah, I mean, this is a new page for GW. They haven't announced it, but we do see that they're not going to make kits if they don't have a rule for it. So it will limit them for these codexes.
and I don't disagree with that. They have their reasons for it. But do you think they could have? I don't know. Is it? I mean,
I guess
you
it's
can
like
look at.
it's fluff versus player. I mean, we see other games. Warmachine has a lot of different stuff in each faction. Infinity has a lot of different stuff in each faction, and you can play very fluffy in all those, or you can go real strict. But you have the option to do that.
So I guess another way to look at it is by breaking the Grey Knights, the Assassins, and Inquisition into 3 separate locations. You've made it harder for you to do bookkeeping, but at the same time, you've allowed each one of them to grow and expand.
Hopefully.
The Grey Knights didn't really do much expansion. They were, I don't know, it feels like more of a tweaking in update to 7. But we saw Inquisition expanded out quite a bit. And it looks like the Assassins are going to be expanded out. To you personally, since you're a player of this, do you like the fact that they are... Would you have traded a more limited version of the Inquisition and Assassins and have it inside of the Grey Knight book? Or do you like that they're expanded yet in separate places?
I mean, so with 6th and 7th edition, they have the allies rule. So you can ally,
Yeah,
and it's great.
And in 7th, you can always go unbound and just use whatever you want anyways.
Yeah. I don't know, it's very hard to quantify it. These are, if you had, it's taking sword codexes, including like Sisters of Battle, they all could have been one big book of greatness, and everybody could have picked and choose what they wanted. But now, yeah, you're just separating it out into smaller chunks. And I don't know, it doesn't feel a lot.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing. I mean, I'm not getting caught up in this, so I mean, I get to play fairly neutral on this. But it feels like you're at the end of the day, you're getting more. At the same time, you're having to buy more books, and it's more bookkeeping on you, the player.
Yeah, and that's why they put out their librarium. You can get the whole book sleeve.
So what they need to do is they need to have like an Ordo or Inquisitive, whatever it is, the High Latin garbage thing. So they need to have a special edition Grey Knights, Inquisition, Sisters, which will actually never happen, so we might not as well say it, and then Assassins data set, like a 4-pack, all bundled together, like a cool dust sleeve or something.
Yeah,
Would you pay for that?
Would I pay for it? Oh, I don't know. Be cool to see though.
So, all right. Any other lasting impressions or bits and pieces you wanted to get out there?
For Grey Knights, no. I mean, I'm gonna play a game and then I'll come back to tell you guys how it was.
Cool. All right, so let's move on. For news for the rest of the world of gaming, War Machines. What do we have going on there, Alan?
Let's see. Let me pull him up. We have a new caster for Scorn that was just released. Screen share. Here we have Xerxis.
Wait, did you say Scorn or Corn?
Scorn. This is one of their new casters from their latest book. Very, fluff-wise, this guy is crippled from the legs down, so they put him on this huge rhinoceros. And he's big, bad, and ugly.
You got ugly, right? No, really. I look at this guy and it just looks like GW Corn, like Chaos Man and stuff. Yeah, it looks like a Mauler fiend with a horn on it, with a corn paint scheme.
That is Scorn. The red color scheme does kind of make it akin to that.
Anyways, sorry, Private Press. You guys are great, but it just looks like you're copying GW in this one, I think. But they get an A for effort. Technical execution is great.
Yeah. All the Scorn people love it, so more shinies for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it for Privateer Press. It's after Gen Con, so everything that they showed off, they showed off.
Fair enough. Infinity, we've seen a couple new some new concept art. First of all, you can take a look. We have the new Janissary with the HMG, and it's Iron Man. I didn't realize it until I looked at it, but this, you look at the mask. This is Iron Man right here, and in the back. It's green Iron
Man. If you look at the video on this channel, the Carlos Bostria Gen Con seminar, you see the 3D render of this guy, and he looks pretty. Yep, there it is.
Yep, let's take a look at it. Yeah, and here's the thing: he is a ripoff of Iron Man, but dang it, he's a good ripoff. He looks great. I remember Carlos even said, "We don't really need to do this. We've got other things to do, but we think he looks awesome, so we're gonna do it."
Yeah.
And I applaud him for that.
Coolness factor, this guy's got it.
So, as a Dirty Hawk player, Alan, you can tell me, how much has this guy changed? So, I know you have a couple Janissaries, and in terms of armor, are we seeing a real big revision here, or are they just tweaking a couple of little design aspects?
The armor is pretty much the same. They did the armor is all on a standard template that they use. I don't see much of a change overall on the 3D sculpt, other than the big, huge gun.
And we all love big, huge guns.
Yep.
Amen. Okay, and then the other thing, I'm not sure we actually saw this in Gen Con, but we've got a concept art for Kornak Jazarat, Morat Superior Warrior Officer.
Yes, it was because of the white face. He's the albino.
Okay, so is he an actual Morat character then, or is this just like a really old Morat that's going gray?
I I'm not sure. I'm not more at fluff. I'm not positive on. Uh, he's a warrant officer, so he's probably uh, a lieutenant type of role.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see he's got he's working off the standard Morat armor. You know, he's still got the fluffy baggy pants. So it's kind of like the armored feet. Exposed thighs because, let's be honest, Morat muscles stop bullets, and kind of an armored torso.
Uh, the one thing I'm looking at, he's got an MK12 plus light flamethrower.
Yes,
That's just adding insult to injury right there.
it's um, it's interesting because I use a lot of Mark 12s in my Infinity army, and they're very much a mid-range weapon. You want to believe that they're a long-range weapon, but they're not. You want to be using them within 24 inches. And then to have a flamethrower attached onto that is kind of odd. Like he's a mid-range firefighter. You know, once you start getting within close range, yeah, sure you can hit somebody with a template, but you're kind of minimizing their effects. And you know, Mark 12, he's got double pistols. So anyways, I think he's got a lot of interesting stuff, and I think he looks cool. So even though they just finished Gen Con, Infinity is still cranking stuff out. And I gotta give them a big thumbs up for that.
And speaking of that, I did get a little email. Here we have some of the photos from the Gen Con seminar.
Outstanding.
So we have the American guys. I mean, if you watch the seminar, you get they did a vote to see what color scheme they wanted to go with.
Who won? 1, 2, or 3?
Number 2.
Okay.
And then we have his U.S. Ariana line art here. These guys are definitely going to have a lot of weapons.
Yeah, that's quite a few options there.
Yeah.
Although when I'm guessing with a name like a grunt, it's going to be kind of like one of your light infantry or line infantry. So a lot of options.
So
Not
it's
a
probably
lot
going to be a
cost.
4-person box.
Yep. Don't expect amazing things. And hello, Joan.
The new Joan of Arc coming out in the future.
Okay, and the interesting thing is there's 2 Joan of Arc profiles. You have your heavy infantry version and your mobile armor version. And I don't know which. And they redid the mobile armor version is the newer one. So I'm guessing that this is replacing her heavy, as it says, heavy infantry. But even her mobile armor has heavy infantry stats. So I'm guessing this is replacing the older one. That would be nice. Do you know if she's being modeled off of anyone?
Not that I know of. But I believe if you order the Angel Heraldez book, I believe there's going to be the custom sculpt of her.
Wow.
And then we got the scouts.
Yep, looks too much like a Seek to Care.
I like this version without the cloak.
Agreed, much better.
And we got the Tiger Soldier.
Oh, nice.
Very much Tony the Tiger.
He's great.
Trauma Doc.
Again, another model that I don't think they needed to rework, but as Carlos said, they wanted to. So.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's a Pano doctor, so she probably kills more of her own troops than anybody else.
I hope they keep the posing of the original Pano Doc. Or the Trauma Doc. I thought it was a non-combat pose. She was kneeling down, screaming for help from someone more competent to come and save the botched up job.
And then we have the Kotel mobile unit for Toha.
Now, Carlos has told us a little bit about the stats for this guy, right?
Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the trident, so you cannot take him in your special little link teams.
I believe he also told us it was going to be a 6'4" with super jump.
Possibly, I'm not sure. I mean, he's got 2 combi rifles. He looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think his posing is just a little bit weird. Oh yeah, and then he's got like holo projector.
Holo projector 2.
2. Awesome. Yeah, looks great. I'm happy to see Toha getting more models.
And then Yojimbo. Yojimbo.
I have nothing to say. I'm just soaking him in.
Yeah, I might have to pick up this pack just because.
Okay, I lied. I actually do have something to say about it. Why don't you go back to that picture? It's interesting. Take a look at his bike. And every bike we've seen from Corvus Belli so far, it's been in a very static position. People have a leg down, they're turning the bike, they're looking around while stopping. Whereas this guy's just full tilt, balls to the wall, right.
It's Akira. I mean, it's the opening scene for Akira.
I disagree.
And then lastly, we got the September releases. So we'll see the Pano Fusiliers, Hawk Islam, Kum Chieftain, our lovely albino Morat, the Mercenary War Corps, one of your Aleph robots, and then the scenery pack for Operation Ice Storm.
Yeah, that's really great that they're making that available for everybody.
Yep, so you can add more to your collections.
I've got a whole bunch of laser cut MDF that needs assembling and painting. And I'm sure I'll spend way too much at Feast of Brains buying.
Let's see. Anything? I think that's all I have for Infinity. And lastly, well, this might be a game I'm gonna get into. Shiny Syndrome and such.
Alright, what you got?
Dark Age. I was a little wary on this line when it first started. Had guys that played it, and for me, it's all Shiny Syndrome. I like to see shiny miniatures, and now they're getting more and more shiny. We have the Prevailers. These are the new sculpts they showed at Gen Con. Very, I mean, it's hard to say what it kind of goes into genre-wise, but that's an amazing looking miniature.
Yeah, Dark Age. Now, first of all, remind you, they came out with a new edition of their rules last year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, their miniatures, because I looked at it, because I got really excited after hearing about this new edition. It's weird. They have like they run the gamut from like a sci-fi horror to like a Mad Max to
very Mad Max. and they had the Kukakani, the Mayans last year. They got the core, the murder robots, and now they have the, I guess, almost like angels.
Yeah, terror angels. Yeah, I'll give them now. And every faction is very, very different. Unlike other games where you have guys in blue armor fighting guys in yellow armor, and so, but all their factions have very distinct looks. So, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so you might be seeing that on the painting table here soon.
All right, so um, Kickstarters. We've got a couple of different Kickstarters. We've got Mr. Justin stuff, and we have another one going on right now called High Ground, by a company called Yeti Militia Games. So we're going to try and talk to these guys, but let me show you real quick what we're looking at. So it is a set of
Very much HeroClix.
Yes, they have a lot of HeroClix models on there, and I think it fits their aesthetic. I mean, you can, they have some Space Marines fighting orcs, some very old Space Marines. It feels very like Minecraft, like you're fighting on a Minecraft world. But all of these are interchangeable. They fit together kind of like Legos, so you can build your own board out of it. It looks like it's kind of designed for maybe like a 3 foot by 3 foot size game. Different color options. And they've got you can see how the tiles all stack together and fit together. And there's a lot of customization out of it. They have like a lot of different jewelry pieces you can put on top of it, lava, and trees, and it's got kind of its own funky art style. And it's all made in the USA.
Well, how many more days do they have left?
They have 19 days left to go, and you can see they're at 13,000 of 150,000. So they've got an uphill climb. I like to think of myself as an optimist, but they have an uphill climb.
Yeah, very true. I mean, this is a hard industry to get into. A lot of stuff to learn from, and that looks like it's going to be a very big hump for them to get over.
Yeah, I think you're right. And this industry can be deceptive. It can look, because there's so few companies operating and people tend to know everybody. You say Mr. Justin, you have to say Secret Weapon. You know who you're talking about. Or, we know all of the Codex writers at GW. And you mistake that for a industry that's like primed to be broken in, but really it's because it's so difficult that it's so small, and because it's so niche. But anyways, all the best to them, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to them, maybe find out a little bit more about the product.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Casey? Anything else on your list?
That's it for me. Let's wrap it up and go home.
All right. All right, guys. We had a lot of new subscribers this past week. We'd like to thank you all for coming and watching. Let us know what you think of the show. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you think. Like if you like this. Share it with your buddies. Comment down below. I'm Wild Chevy. This is Rocket Yeti.
Have a good night, everybody.
We'll see you next week. Cheers.